Now, believe it or not, 40 years ago today, a new sound hit Australian airwaves. It was the sound of the early Triple Js.
Right on the stroke of 11 o'clock on the 19th of January, we cut to the Skyhook song, You Only Like Me Because I'm Good in Bed. It was just a sensational moment of broadcasting as far as I'm concerned.
Everything up until that point in time had been so stultified and so regimented and so narrow. It was just almost unthinkable that suddenly we could hear a song like this broadcast.
Throughout the decades since it was pioneered, music and championed by Australian artists.
Now returning to celebrate two of the early Triple J pioneers, Jonathan Coleman and Ian Rogerson, better known as Jono and Dano. They are identifying themselves because, hey, we would never recognise you either way.
Oh, well, you know, like, it's been attrition for so long. You know, it's been 40 years. We're tired.
We weren't there right at the beginning. In fact, myself and Dano were basically young schoolboys at the time. I did go in and visit the Double J a few times.
That's right. We were listeners 40 years ago. We didn't start till 35 years ago.
So we started in 1981.
We won't malign you, but I did hear, my spies told me that at the party you were doing a lot more hugging than any kind of anarchic behaviour. What has happened to the two of you?
Well, I think we're much more established now. We're family men.
Yes.
We have mortgages. We have the pressure of the world on us, as opposed to when we were working, which is we were, you know, very, very young then.
It's a good way of meeting people, I find.
Yeah.
The older you get, if you become a hugger, you know, it's a way of meeting people, members of the opposite sex.
And the beautiful thing was that so many people that you really did love and you knew so well, you worked with for so long, it was all hugs. So that's what we're like.
And I work with Ita Buttrose a lot every day, and I find she's introducing me to the handshake again as well.
Yeah, she's very formal, our Ita. Now, boys, take us back, even though it wasn't exactly 40 years ago when you, as Jono and Dano, hit the airwaves. It was such a revolution for the Australian audience and for what you were trying to do.
Oh, look, it was. I mean, I think that's the amazing thing that sometimes you forget now in the modern world, just how different things were and how great it was to suddenly have not only unbelievably great music, but also a voice, I think, for the youth of Australia. And really, that's the most important thing. We talk about 40 years, but it's still all about the youth of Australia. It's such a valuable resource for kiddies and young people growing up that they've got this place to turn to. It's great.
And if it wasn't for Double J and Triple J, I mean, bands like Midnight Oil weren't getting any commercial radio airplay. So I think the opportunity for all that Australian music, people like Goche, and that so many of the musicians of today owe it to Double J and Triple J. And I think when I went there, I was doing kids TV, Simon Townsend's Wonderworld. So I went there as someone who was known for kids TV, and I think it was it was an opportunity to meet Ian, and he originally wasn't supposed to talk, and I just started chatting to him.
I just couldn't keep quiet after I heard him for a while. I just thought somebody has to say something.
It's hard to be a one-act wonder, isn't it? And Jono, you spent a lot of time overseas after your Triple J years as well, working in Britain.
Yeah, I was amazed at the number of people. I worked at the BBC and on commercial TV and radio in London for 16 years, and I was amazed. I remember, it's just incredible how much recall British musicians, British bands who toured, they all do that appearance on Double J and Triple J. And the BBC Youth Network Radio 1 is also roughly based around the Triple J model of live concerts and lots of new music.
It was world famous, and I think the amazing thing was that, you know, Johnny was in England, but I was back working at Triple J when they turned it into a national network, and I think that happened in the 90s, and it was great. You know, the Prime Minister at the time, Paul Keating, had us all into Parliament House, and we did a national launch there where we had access. We had a swimming race in the parliamentary pool. It was just
outrageous.
Fantastic, and you know, now it is a national network, again a resource.
And politicians love to be seen to be groovy and down with the young folk. But I was wondering, Johnny, too, in terms of, and to both of you, as to how pivotal, if we look at just how vibrant the Australian music scene has been,
Well, look at the people that, because of the ABC and because of Triple J and Double J, who are now, you know, the Sears and the Goches and the Hunters and Collectors, the Midnight Oils. Because of that fresh attitude, commercial radio suddenly went, we better start playing Skyhooks, we better start playing this one, we better start playing Hunters and Collectors, Hoodoo Gurus.
It's still a proving ground. They had a fantastic concert in the Domain in Sydney on Friday night. 28,000 people turned up. I mean, I was there with my son, and
a walking frame.
And a walking frame. They did. I had ramp access, but the beautiful thing is, you know, it's still this vibrant thing. You know, this great resource and so much fun.
That's why you
the
have to
bands are fantastic.
Watch the documentary tonight, because it's amazing. I've now looked back at that documentary. It's going to be on ABC TV tonight, and you forget the people who have been through, people like Paul McCartney, the Rolling Stones, you know, Talking Heads, you name it, they've all been on Double J or
Keith Richards had to be carried out of our studio at one stage.
That would be no surprise to anybody, I can imagine. What do you think they have kept their sort of pushing the boundaries style? I mean, we had a push last week on to get Taylor Swift into the top 100. I'm not sure how she's going, but do you think they've crossed over too much into the mainstream, Triple J, now?
I think you have to in some ways, because my kids are 21 and 17. They listen to Triple J, but they also are very much able to download music and very much able to switch around TV stations and radio stations. So I think the thing that Triple J does is they've got that continuity of new people, new voices, new acts trying comedy, trying music, and I think that's something that they still do, and they've got to stick to that. And I think that whatever happens at the ABC, that Triple J is such an important part of that youth network and a voice for young people from whatever part of the world they come from. Triple J is that sort of musical outlet and also a creative outlet.
It's a trusted friend.
Yeah.
Indeed, that's exactly right. Well, look, other than the fact that you're both sort of dyeing your hair different colours at this stage of life, I don't know why. You're looking...
This is lemon juice.
I've just had this implied this morning.
You don't look a day over 26, the two of you.
Oh, thanks,
26 stone.
Jono Dano, it's been great to reunite you both, and we will all be tuned to that documentary tonight. We're jealous of all the parties you're having to celebrate.
I'd like to apologise now for the people who watch it tonight.
I need to lie down.
See you, boys. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Beverly.
Away we go now, beauty.